Hi, I'm Elaine Harding. Welcome to part 4 of 4 in my Fond of Autumn series. So this is the final episode, and again we're using the Fond of Autumn stamp set with the Autumn Bouquet dies. The dies we'll be using is the label one and this die. We'll also be using the deckled rectangles dies. There are 8 in the die set, and counting from the smallest to the largest, 1 being the smallest, we need the largest, which is number 8. You need some Pear Pizzazz cardstock, and I've already die cut the largest deckled rectangle from that. The other cardstock we'll need is the Petal Pink half an A4 sheet, and in Europe that measures 5 7/8 by 8 1/4. So in metric that will be 14.5 by 21 centimeters, folded in half. Then we want a very vanilla piece of cardstock for the inside of the card, and this measures 3 3/4 by 5 1/2, and in metric that will be 9.5 by 14 centimeters. We also need 2 pieces. This is a quarter piece of A4, and that's to stamp and emboss the largest stamp in the Fond of Autumn set. I'm also using my Stamparatus because when you are stamping with a transparent ink like Versamark to emboss with, you can't see where you're stamping, and if the ink hasn't transferred onto the cardstock, you can stamp it again without worrying about whether you've got it in the same position. I'm also going to be using the Basics embossing powder. I'll need the white one and the Embossing Additions toolkit, which consists of this tray. It has a bottleneck here that you can unscrew and then tip the powder back into your jar. It also has a brush so that you can sweep the powder back in, and a tweezer to hold your project in, and of course the embossing buddy. The inks I'm using are Versamark, Petal Pink and Pear Pizzazz, and the water painters. This comes in a set of 3. There's a fine, medium and a flat brush. I'm also going to be using the Basics Essentials twine. This comes in a pack of 5. There are 5 yards in the grey, granite, very vanilla and black, or that's 4.6 meters. And for the crumb cake and the white one, there is 10 yards, which is 9.1 meters. So we're going to be using the very vanilla one. Last but not least, we're using the Elegant Faceted Gems. So first we're going to take our very vanilla scrap piece and just pounce on it like that with the dust buddy. Ink it up with a Versamark, and I'm only going to apply ink on the bit where the flower is, this bit here, because I'm not going to be using those leaves. Next I'm going to sprinkle embossing powder and then heat set it. You will see the embossing powder melt, so you work your way downwards because it does change colour. So from a sandy colour it goes completely white. Can you see that? Now the reason why I cut my cardstock in 2 pieces was because it's so difficult to see. Even if I moved this down, I wouldn't know where I'd stamped the other one, so that's why it was just easier to stamp with 2 cards. So ink it up again with the Versamark, and we repeat the process. Pop embossing powder on it. Unscrew the bottleneck and then tip this back into your box. And then you can use the brush to sweep the residue back into the box. Pop the screw back in so you don't mislay it. Then use your pair of tweezers and hold the cardstock. Now this is quite a large piece, so I didn't really need the tweezers, but they will come in handy if you have a smaller piece to emboss. Now I need to do my watercolouring. Now these pens open and shut in the opposite directions, so if you normally you would twist to the right to open something, but this one actually twists to the left in order to open it, and then to tighten it you go in the opposite direction. You go toward you, twist it towards you. So wet the brush, you don't want it too wet, and have a piece of kitchen towel handy. And you need an acrylic block so that you can pick up ink. I'm going to pick up some Peppersass from this side and Petal Pink from this side. Okay, now I'm going to speed this up. Let's start with colouring the flowers first, and you work from the outer edge in toward the centre of the flower. Squeeze the barrel a bit. It says push here, so just squeeze a little bit of water in so that you can clean your brush before you change colours. So now I'm going to do the leaves. So when you're doing the flowers, you're just drawing the paint from the edge of the embossed bit and then drawing it into the centre. And you don't want to get your cardstock too wet, and you want to work fairly quickly, because you don't really want your cardstock to pill. That means going over the same area again and again will break down the fibres of the cardstock, and then it will start to fluff up, and you don't want that. Now we want to die cut this, and you can see where to die cut now because you've coloured it in so it's easier to see. Okay, your usual sandwich, which is platform 1, platform 2 the thin die adapter, one of the platform 3s your cardstock, your die cutting edge face down, and then a second platform 3, and you're ready to run it through the machine. So I'll die cut both of these and I'll be back. Next thing to do is I'm going to cut of the berries off because I only want the flowers, so I need to release that and then cut round the flower. And do the same for this one. Now we need to emboss the Peppersass largest die cut deckled edge rectangle. So bring in the platform 1, platform 2, base cutting plate platform 3, your deckled edge, place that on and then place your stitch greenery die on top, followed by a second platform 3, and then you're ready to go. So first I want to stamp the inside of my card, so bring in the other piece of Very Vanilla for the inside of the card and glue that in. Then you can also glue in your embossed piece of Pear Pizzazz, and I'm going to pop that at an angle. I forgot to press record. Sending many thanks is already in a curve, so you can use that as a template to curve your stamp round with the sending many thanks as well, because this is more or less straight. So let's stamp that, and then we can stamp the banner. This is crooked. I'm going to have to do it off camera because I can't do it standing up. Bring back the card and then just pop your banner across like that, and then you can bring in your flowers and pop dimensionals on the back as well. Remove the backing tape and then position one flower here and then the other one. Then take a generous amount of twine, baker's twine, double it up and snip it in half and tie a bow, so bunny ears. Cross it over and tuck one under and then pull. Grab a glue dot and pop it on the back of the bow and then stick it in here like so. And last thing to do is put your faceted gems on. So there's the card complete. I hope you've enjoyed today's project and also the series. All the supplies to the project is listed below in the show more section of this video. There's also a link to my blog post if you'd like to read more. You can also find me on Facebook, Pinterest or Instagram. If you like this video, then do give me a thumbs up, like and share. I'd appreciate ever so much, and pop back for more inspiration next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.